Did you know you can actually grow tomatoes in your house all year long? So let's talk about that process a little bit. What I have here are tomatoes that I started a couple of weeks ago in this germination pot. You can see that most of them came up, but I do have a blank spot here, so we'll talk about that a little bit too. I'm starting this just in a regular 4-cell pack. And the reason that I like to do that instead of starting in the pot that itself that it's going to grow is that, for one, the soil doesn't stay too wet when the plants are small and can't use up all that water, and that helps prevent damping off disease. You're not apt to get a lot of disease in your tomatoes in the house, but that is one that you could get. It's pretty common, and that comes from the soil that the seeds are growing in. So I like to start in a pot like this, and that way when I do have a cell where the seeds don't germinate or seeds that don't come up, then I'm not wasting all that time and effort in there. What I will do in another week or so, these will have 2 sets of true leaves, and then I will prick out the 2 best and pot them up into a bigger pot. I will go up to probably an 8-inch pot because these are miniature Tiny Tim tomatoes for indoor growing, and that's all the pot that it needs. So other than that, what are your requirements? Light is a big one. Tomatoes really need a good light source inside. Usually your sunny window is not enough to do it, so I have an additional grow light here on them. The nice thing about this one is that it's adjustable. It can go up and down, and that way I can keep it close to the plants, and then as it grows up, I can bend this up, and this will actually accommodate the adult plant and adult pot, because that Tiny Tim is only going to get to be about 8 inches tall as an adult, maybe up to 12. Heat, warmth, tomatoes need warmth. Indoors or out. You know, this is why we can't grow them too early or too late in the season. So, you know, you want about 70 to 75, which is your typical home temperature. So if you're comfortable, your tomatoes are probably comfortable. When they get growing up and you start having blossoms on your plant, one thing you're probably going to need to do is help these along with pollination. It's a great idea to put a little fan on your indoor tomatoes. That keeps the stems, it reduces legginess. It helps the stems grow firmer and stronger. And then when they do get to the point of blossoming and pollination, it will help mimic the wind, which is one of the big pollinators outdoors. You're obviously not going to have bugs and bees crawling on your plants, which tomatoes don't necessarily need that. They do help it along, but wind itself is enough. You can give them a little shake. You can tap them with a pencil. You can kind of tickle behind those blossoms with a cotton swab or a pencil and let that pollen fall. So those are most of the big factors for growing tomatoes indoors. We have the full article with all the details, a full guide to get you going. But the biggest factors you're going to need are the light and the heat, because without the light, they're just not going to do well. So that's it. You know, they're really pretty simple to grow. It definitely can be done. You're going to want probably to stay with a smaller variety, like the dwarf or micro dwarf varieties like this Tiny Tim. But if you have space, you're willing to dedicate the space and the utilities and the lighting to it, then go for it. You could grow a full-size tomato plant. You probably are going to want to stick with a bush type, like a determinate tomato, just because that's going to fit your size availability in your home better. So there you have it. Hope it helps. This is a way to have tomatoes all year long without having to eat the cardboard shipped, unnaturally ripened things that you can get in the store. I hope you enjoy your growing. Good luck.